Welcome to day one LoveFest, ladies. So good to be with you. I really wanted to play music because I really get into the mood and into the vibe of the, going live when I have cool tunes playing. But I discovered that Facebook just shuts me down when I do that. I didn't want to risk getting shut down before I even got started. So pretend there's like groovy tunes in the background. Those of you who've done my 5-day Meet Your Soulmate challenge, you know that I usually start with music and we kind of groove together. It's all a bit of fun and it sets the tone, but it just feels a little bit too risky. Say hello as you're joining. Hi, Emma. Good to have you. Yeah, so as you're joining, say hi. If you're on replay, type in hashtag replay. Hi, Rebecca, darling. Good to have you. Oh, so good to be with you. Day one of LoveFest. It's kind of day two, isn't it? I mean, I know it's day one, but last night was so cool, wasn't it? I mean, I had so much really beautiful, positive feedback from last night. And yeah, it was just a really fun way to kick it off. I really enjoyed sharing myself with you in the way that I did. If you didn't see last night's live, I really do highly recommend you catch it. It's in my Facebook profile feed. If you've registered, there's a catch up page. There's an instant link straight to it. Easy peasy. Yeah, there's some background information there that I think would be really helpful for you. And I had plenty of messages from women privately, through my messenger, on email, and in the comments saying already having my breakthrough aha moment. So that's pretty cool. And we haven't even really started. So yay. Let me say hi to you beauties. Hey, Ruth. Hi, Emma. Hey, Layla. Who's Keith? Hi, all. Hey, Rachel. Hey, Kelly Ann. Sonia. Hola. Nice to have you from over the pond. Hashtag live. Yes, we are live. Hello, hello. Sarah. Hey, everyone. Let's get this party started. Yes, Sarah. Sarah's here. So Sarah is usually my ambassador on my 5-day challenge, but she's here. I mean, she's not going to be able to help herself except to get you guys moving. I know what you're like, Sarah. But she's not here in official ambassador capacity, but I feel like she's going to step into that role naturally because it's what she does, because she is my wing woman. Yes, Layla, I thought you meant Katie, not Keith. I'm like, who's Keith? Am I challenging some strong male energy today? Clara, hello, darling. I got your message. Thank you so much. That was gorgeous. I can't actually reply to all the messages. If you message me privately, please know I'll read it and I receive it with love. I just get a little inundated and I can't reply to everybody. Yeah, not Keith. Kate, hello, darling. Hello, hello. Who's that? Hi. So if you guys are watching from a Facebook group, we've discovered it's not going to bring your name up no matter how hard you try. So if you want me to see your name, you're going to need to come into my Facebook profile and watch this there, and then your name will come up. And if you're in my profile watching this and it still says Facebook user, it's because you haven't given StreamYard permission to use your name. That's all. But it's not that important, although I do like to know who I'm talking to. Joe, hello. Good to have you. Hey, Lindsay, nice to have you too. Beth, hello, another one all the way over the pond. Good to have you back. Hello, good evening. Rebecca, last night's card was amazing. I got my white card out today. That's amazing. Yeah, wasn't it incredible, last night's card reading? I've still got it here, actually. I don't really want to put it away. This is, if you weren't on last night, we had this, oh, can you see it with the ring light? Beautiful card came through and it was just, I mean, the reading was LoveFest in a nutshell, and you just can't make that stuff up. I love it. Camilla, hello, darling. Kristen, hello. Danielle, hi. Hi, Helen. Good to have you. Lorraine, hi. Sarah is scrubbing the concrete because she just spilled an entire pot of paint. She sent me a picture. How the hell did you do that? What a nightmare. Who is that? Laura. Hello, Laura. Good to have you back too. Christine. Hello, honey. Good to have you. Yes, Keith isn't here, Layla. Sarah. Hello. Oh my God, so many of you. I'm loving that you. Do you know what? I'm just going to honor you for sharing your evening with me and your precious time. I know I said this last night, but hi, Claudia. I really, really, really value it. Hi, darling. Lindsay, you're not on replay, darling. We are live, baby. We're live right now. Lucy, hello. Lucy, are you Greek? Do you have Greek heritage? Well, I was wondering that last night. Kate, hello, darling. Jess, hello. Saw your post in the Love Lounge today, Jess, and I'm right behind you. I know I've not responded yet, but I'm behind the new intentions that you're setting for yourself and your life. Very brave. Love it. Hey, Kendra, good to have you. Hashtag live. Yes, we are. Okay, my darlings. So I've decided to do something a little different. Lucy's ex-husband is Greek. Okay, like I can sort of just see your picture. You don't really look Greek, but you never know. Okie dokie. Wendy's here as well. Good evening. Hiya. So I've done something a little bit different tonight. I have actually pulled together a little slideshow. It's not a big deal, but there were certain things that I wanted to be able to talk to you about that are visual, and I'm pretty visual and I like to see things visually. So I just wanted to, I've made something pretty to show you tonight. So we'll dive into that. I got a little bit of background story on my own life experience that I would like to share with you. And as I share my story, it's great to hear other people's stories and we learn from it. I also invite you, as you're listening to my story, don't just be entertained by it, but see how does that fit for you. And I'll prompt you as I'm sharing, because I want my storytelling. This isn't about me. I want my storytelling to prompt you into your own aha moments. So really listen with those ears, if that makes sense. Who else is there? Gina's in the house. Hi, Gina, another one all the way over the pond. I love having the Americans here. It's great. Okay, so let me just share my screen. Oh, this is going to be brand new. I've never done this before. So bear with. I need to, one sec. Oh, look at that. I want to hear you all go, ah. It looks cool, doesn't it? So day one, LoveFest, what you don't own owns you. That's the focus of today. And before we get started, and I know I asked this yesterday, and I know a bunch of you who were here live yesterday, and some of you on replay answered this question. And I think it's really important for you to just tap in and get really intentional about why you are here. Thank you, Lindsay. It is. It's a great picture, isn't it? Yeah, that was a dream photo shoot. Loved it. Irene's here as well. You love the questions. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm going to talk to you more about those a little bit later on. They definitely require you to be courageous, don't they? And that's what I want to bring forward in you ladies in the next 3 days. I want to bring your courage forward. I told you last night, my intention is to disrupt you this week. I don't want you feeling comfortable this week. LoveFest, yeah, it is all about love. It is about moving away from fear and towards love. I want you to have those yummy, lovey feelings, but I want you to feel gritty. I want you to feel edgy. I want you to feel uncomfortable. I want you to tap into your dissatisfaction, because nothing changes if you don't. So from today, the next 3 days, it's all about having you get really aware of your pain points and really tapping into what are you dissatisfied with, what is not working for you. I want you to get really like honed in and conscious to that, because that is the beginning of all change. And it does not matter how much personal development and personal growth work you've done. You have to regularly come back to assessing, like, where am I at? Mind, body, emotions, soul, spirit. Like, where am I at? How am I rating myself? How am I feeling? What am I thinking? Am I on track? Am I off track? Check it out. A conscious woman does that. An empowered woman is conscious, and she's regularly checking in, and she's not afraid of her dissatisfaction. She's not afraid to look in those dark corners, those shameful dark corners, and shine light on it, because on the other side is everything that she wants. So please, can you just type into the comments for me, what do you specifically want to heal in your life? Why on earth did you sign up for LoveFest? What has to change? Even if you shared it with me last night, maybe share it again here with me tonight. Just, if not to share, to do it for yourself, to be intentional. Energy is like, everything is energy. Your intention is energy. Set yourself up to get the best value out of the live this evening. And if you did work through the playbook today, I'm hoping that your pain has been prodded and you are acutely aware of why you're here this week. Sarah's saying, I was utterly shocked at how much I still ... The comment didn't come through, Sarah. Try again. Yes. I know you were shocked because you messaged me. There we go. I was utterly shocked at how much I ignore my feelings, emotions, my body, and my spirit. That is already so powerful. And we do, right? We do. So we have to practice this every single day. Lindsay's saying, I want to see my worth and allow others to see it too. Amen. Yes. Yes. Emma, I intend on having a big shift to loving myself more and being able to embrace my feelings and show them. Yes. I hear you, darling. I see you. We all hear you. We all see you. Yeah, we're in this together. Clara, to deepen whatever wants to come to the surface, I let it come. Beautiful. Oh, it's moving fast with your comments. I can't keep up. I'll try and get to them all. Camilla, I've lost myself in the busyness of life and want to get back to me. Yes, I remember you saying that last night. Yes, I see you. I hear you. I want to feel worthy for being me and to be fearless for anything I put my mind into. Beautiful. Lorraine, to feel complete and loved wholeheartedly by myself. Beautiful. Lucy, I want to learn how to appreciate myself more, stop self-deprecation, have the confidence to move forward with my life in a positive way. Yes. Danielle, to learn to put myself first, set boundaries, not always being a people pleaser, stop giving my energy away and to not let my emotions control me. Wow, there's a lot of self-awareness there. Beautiful, Danielle. Beth, I want to fully commit to my business and my new relationship and not hold back as I usually do. New relationship alert. I know, because Beth told me on the back of the 5-day Meet Your Soulmate challenge, which helped her to call him in. How cool is that? Jess, to heal myself from within and stop looking for external things or people to do it for me. Yes. You're on a mission at the moment, Jess. I'm so excited for you. Rebecca, I'd like to have the strength to move more towards vulnerability and intimacy, for love to take over from fear. Ah, yes, 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 yes. I see you, darling. Sonia, I'm just realizing, hold on, let me just do that. There we go. Then you can see me better. Sonia, to continue to heal the relationship with my ex-husband. I see now that by saying everything is okay when it's not is holding me back. I realize that my greatest mistake with him has been not holding him accountable for his lack of responsibility. And this has affected both my children and I. Taking a stand, speaking your truth from a place of love. And we can only speak our truth from a place of love when we do our inner work first. So we are responding, we're speaking love. We're not reacting to past pain. Kellyanne, I need to stop pretending in public that nothing bothers me or accepting BS for fear someone else will be hurt. Yes, so powerful. Verity, I want to show others that I'm confident and not needy. Beautiful. Yes. Yes, yes, stepping into that confidence. Ruth, doing the workbook today, I see how much negative chatter I still have going on. Also, more heart healing to do. I've been pushing feelings down rather than allowing and processing. Good noticing, just time to course correct. Kate, to get more comfortable with fear and trying things anyway, regardless of the outcome. Awesome, very daring and mighty. I love it. Emma, I realize how and when I turn to victim, I need to address that before I can let my walls down for a relationship. Beautiful. Oh my goodness, you're going to love tomorrow night. Spoiler alert. Layla, I'm here to fully commit to having a relationship with myself and loving myself and being authentic and fully soul aligned and fulfilled with everything I do. Amazing. Irene, for developing self-love and acceptance for life, moving away from fear to love for self and life. Yes. I'm going to speed up, otherwise we'll never get into the presentation, but I love reading these and I want to see you. I want to honor you. I want to just, this is precious what we're doing right now. So let's share together. This is beautiful. Laura, to continue building my confidence and feeling less fearful. Feel the fear and do it anyway. That's a theme tonight already. I love it. Lindsay, I've been single for so long and I keep coming back to the thought that there must be something wrong with me. No. But I'm sure that can't be right, right? Right. Something is blocking me from having a relationship and I want to work out what it is. Okay. There's nothing wrong with you, my darling. And I get that it feels like that because I used to feel like that too. Helen, healing my feelings of shame. Powerful. I want you to own that today, Helen. I'm going to come back to you on that later if we've got time. Lorraine, I look after everyone else, but not enough looking after my needs. Yes, people pleasing. It's a thing. I've never come across a client, a woman in my world that doesn't do it. And actually, I think nearly all of us do it to some degree. Lindsay, to learn to accept me for who I am and stop comparing myself negatively to others. Powerful. Amen from a place of love. Sonia, yes. Kendra, I want to stop disrespecting people just because they love me. Ooh, wow, that's something right there, Kendra. Verity, set boundaries and listen and believe in myself with all my heart and soul without being afraid of being alone or unloved. Gorgeous. Yes. Hey, Christine, I lost myself and I want to be myself again. My God, I feel that. I know that feeling. And live life again and stop being too critical about myself and others. I want to learn to open up again and learn how to show love. I am loving your vulnerability. Thank you so much for sharing that. Sarah, I have a lot of blocks that I want to work through. Beautiful. Day by day. Keep setting the intention. Keep loving yourself through it. Yes. Yes, you can. Okie dokie. So let me share a little of my story with you. What we don't own owns us. As I said, as I share my story, feel what I'm saying and allow it to awaken your own memories, awaken your own truths. We all are operating in our adult life in reaction to past life experiences, in response to messaging that we were given when we were kids, experience we've had in past relationships, what our religion told us, what our society, our culture told us, what our teachers told us, what it all modeled to us. We are all a collection of all of these different beliefs and experiences, and we are conditioned and we are programmed. That is our humanness. The conditioning and programming is our humanness. And we are invited every day to overcome our humanness and live aligned with the truth of us, which is our spiritual self. It's our authentic self. It's that quiet, wise, loving voice within that we all have. We're invited to tap into that, to hear our own truth. And we cannot do that when we are being run by our conditioning and our programming, our wounding, the stuff that we don't want to look at, or it's just so subconscious. It's so unconscious. We don't even realize that it's running us until we do. And that's my work. Like when I'm working with my clients, whether you are doing an online program of mine or working with me one-to-one, the work is designed to shine a light on what you didn't realize you were doing, the unconscious behavioral habits that you have, the belief systems that you've just taken as fact. but it's actually fear, false evidence appearing real. And so my work as a transformational coach is to challenge those thoughts and to shine a light on it and have you realize for yourself, oh, that thinking isn't serving me, or I'm acting in that way and I didn't even know what was like behind it. But we receive negative conditioning and we receive positive conditioning. And for years and years, as I teach this work, I share a lot of my own story around the negative stuff, the tough stuff. But I very rarely share the positive stuff. And I want to bring that in tonight because I want you to consider this for yourself as well. So I just want to share that I received a lot of really beautiful and positive programming from my mum and dad when I was growing up. So I was a very worried little girl. I always was. And let me just tell you a few stories of the beautiful wisdom and knowledge and healthy, loving belief systems that my parents imparted to me that have contributed to me being the woman that I am today. And I do believe that without this, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today either. So I remember when I was about 10 years old, my parents were both called into the school. I was so scared because I was such a nervous, worried little thing. I didn't understand why they were being called in. And I sat on this cold concrete step outside the classroom waiting for mum and dad to come out, having seen my teacher. And they came out and they both looked at me with so much compassion and so much love. And it turned out like I wasn't in trouble. I hadn't done anything wrong. I was just struggling a bit with maths and I needed a bit of extra help and support. And I'll never, ever forget my dad, who's 6'2", big guy, big hands, reaching out to me and taking my hand, my little hand in his big hand, and looking in my eyes and saying, and I can see where I was on the street. I can feel the sunshine. I know what time of day it was. Like it's imprinted in me. He looked into my eyes and he said, "You are, I can do anything, Katie." And because my dad said it, and he said it so just with such power, it made it true. And this is what happens when we're kids. We hear things, and if it comes from somebody important like mum or dad, we make it to be true. Now that happened to be a really positive, beautiful belief system to instill in me. You are, I can do anything, Katie. I tell I'm 47 years old. I'm going to be 48 in July. I still tell myself, you are, I can do anything, Katie. It's true. I've decided it's true, and so it is. I remember when my mum sat me on the bed and I was probably about 12. And yeah, Sarah, it was a really powerful thing for him to say, right? And my mom sat me on the bed and I remember her saying to me that she wanted me to really know my body. She was explaining to me the importance of looking at my body, touching my body, loving my body, understanding my body, using my body. She's like, it's your body. You can do whatever you want with your body. It's yours. Love it, respect it, know it. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be ashamed of it. Don't shy away from it. So she's really instilling in me incredible body confidence, which I have to this day. It's something that I've never struggled with. Yeah, I'll say, oh, I wish, my boobs this or my tummy this. Well, blah, 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 blah. We all have our shit around our body image. But actually, overall, I have very strong body confidence and like a deep love for my body and the beauty of my body, just how beautiful we all are individually. And I thank my mum for that. When I was growing up, we had a sunroom in Australia. They call them sunrooms. In the UK, we call them, what do we call a sunroom in the UK? A conservatory? Is that what we call them here in the UK? And I used to sit in the sunroom playing with the cats every day. All through my childhood, my teenage years, I'd be found sitting in the sunroom playing with the cats and studying. And in the sunroom, my dad had a a desk, and on the wall was a Theodore Roosevelt quote. Let me just test my memory here. And the quote went, I used to read this every day, by the way, and it went, "Far better it is to dare mighty things, to win glorious triumphs, even though checkered by failure, than to take rank with those timid spirits who neither enjoy much nor suffer much, because they live in the grey twilight that knows not victory nor defeat." And let that land. Powerful statement. And I would read it every day. And little did I know, it was an affirmation. And I decided somewhere along the way that I was going to live my life being daring and mighty. I was going to dare mighty things. Daring and mighty was the first name I gave to my business. It's on my book, How to Live a Daring and Mighty Life. Like, it's become a theme right through my life. My parents were always inviting me to be kind to myself. I was such an A-star student, and I used to put myself under a lot of pressure. Any other like A-star students here growing up? Any other fellow perfectionists? Anyone else? Like, I used to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to study before exams. Like, I just had to nail it. I wanted to be top of the class. It was kind of how I was wired. There's some negative conditioning under that. I might get to that in a minute. There was a reason why I was needing to prove myself. It was a big way that I got love, connection, acceptance, certainty, all those good human needs, which we will be touching on tomorrow night. Those sort of basic human needs got met when I got good grades. All of that was met. That to one side. When I was worried about an exam, or I was worried about, how's I going to get all my homework done? My parents, my dad in particular, was like, "Katie, what's the worst thing that could happen? No one's going to die." I'm like, yeah, no one's going to die. And I learned that deadlines can always be pushed back. You can always request a new deadline. I worked in the advertising and PR industry for quite a few years, well before I got into this world. And you can always push back a deadline. You can always ask for an extension. But their messaging to me was always, just be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. And my clients will know, the women in my membership, the Love Lounge, you all know I say that all the time, don't I? Be kind to yourself. And so I'm sharing all of this with you because this was really beautiful, positive conditioning and programming that I received. Let me just check out these comments. Hold on. Rebecca saying, "This is the quote that led me to live a daring and mighty life." Yeah. It's an amazing quote. Clara, beautiful. My dad used to say, Clara, just keep it cool, keep it real, keep it simple. And it's one of my favorite phrases. I love that. Keep it cool, keep it real, keep it simple. Yes, I love that. Irene, yes, I woke at 4 a.m. from sixth grade. Fear of failure was huge. Yeah, it's a thing. Yeah, don't worry, Clara. It doesn't matter. Yeah, spelling doesn't matter. So with all of I'm sure I could dig up lots more examples of beautiful, positive parenting experiences that I had. So why was it then that from the age of about 17 to when I really truly began my personal growth journey at about 34, why did I struggle so much? Why was my experience internally full of so much anxiety? Why did I end up feeling so depressed? I had an experience when I must have been 17, and I was final year of high school, and I was sort of moving into final exam phase. And I had to stand up in front of my English class and do a presentation. Now, like I told you, I was a good girl. I was a good student. I was well prepared. I would have got up early that morning and practiced. As a teenage girl, one of my things that I did on the side was Toastmasters. So I learned public speaking. I don't remember anything of my Toastmasters classes except that they used to they used to count the number of times I said Every time I said they would count it. So at the end of every speech, they would tell me how many times I said it. I'm a little bit conscious of saying now. There it is. So I stood up to do this English presentation. And have you ever had that dream? I know a lot of us have the same dream where you try to scream and nothing comes out. You know, those really horrible horror dreams, and you just like, and you can't scream. You're trying to get away and you're trying to alert and nothing will come out. It's pretty much the experience I had that day in my English classroom. So I stood up there. Yes, Clara knows that dream. Yeah. I was stood up there and I was all prepared, confident, opened my mouth and nothing came out. Lindsay knows it too. It's horrible. And I was literally like, it was the oddest experience. It just wouldn't come out. Someone saying I have that dream all the time. Wow. I don't know what it means. It'd be interesting to find out. And so it wouldn't come out. And the teacher had to excuse me from the classroom. And I didn't have to give the presentation. And I remember going to the bathroom and sobbing and sobbing and sobbing. And so much came up and out for me. And I still wasn't really sure what it was, but I was becoming aware. And through the crying, I was becoming aware of what was going on for me and why I couldn't speak. And it was my first example. It's the first example I want to share with you around what we don't own owns us. I just realized my pretty LoveFest branding had disappeared. So I'm going to put it back because I'm a perfectionist. Yeah, what we don't own owns us. So everything was not all rosy in the Phillips household, as it turns out. Up until the age of 17, I thought it was. But in just the few months leading up into me making that English presentation, my dad had been in and out of hospital and had a lot of illness around alcoholism. So it came to my awareness that my dad was an alcoholic. And it came into my awareness that my mum suffered clinical depression. And it came into my awareness that my parents wanted to get divorced. And slowly, day by day, month by month, in a very short space of time, the world I knew was just collapsing in. And everything that I thought my family was started to become something else. And I started to see that there was this facade, and behind it, there was something else going on. But I had not acknowledged it. I hadn't felt any feelings around it. I was a 17-year-old girl. I was studying for my exams. I probably had my first boyfriend on the side. Like, I remember, actually, I definitely did because I kept him a secret. I was, I'm a teenager. I was like absorbed in my own stuff. Pretty egocentric teenagers, aren't they? And I hadn't acknowledged what was really going on. And what was really going on was very, very painful. And that day, what I hadn't owned me. That was my first experience of that. So what that sort of, there was all these sort of cataclysmic events seemed to all kind of come together at the same time. Within a few months of that moment, me in the English classroom, my mom attempted suicide. 5 years later, she committed suicide. My parents did get divorced. There was a lot of change happening. And as all of this began to happen, it awakened in me, although unconsciously. So how do I describe that? I said at the very beginning of this share that I was a very worried, anxious little girl. I used to worry about worrying. I used to get into bed with my mum most nights when I was very little and say, "Mum" or "Mummy, I have a worry." And I would tell her, when she'd be like, "What's your worry?" I'm like, "I don't know. I'm worried about worrying." I would worry about worrying about worrying. That's how much I worried. Like I was just so worried. And I can see now in retrospect that that little girl knew intuitively that things weren't quite right. She couldn't necessarily verbalize it. She didn't necessarily understand it. And a lot of what she felt at a young age, because prior to turning 7, actually, we haven't got the mental faculty to be able to really fully understand what's going on. It doesn't mean we can't feel it. We know it through feeling it. And from a very, very young age, I feared that I would lose my parents. And it was real because my mum was depressed and my dad was an alcoholic, and he was interested in other women. And he did end up leaving when I was about 7. For about 9 months, I think he left to be with another woman. He came back to our family. He ultimately left. My parents ultimately did get divorced. My mum ultimately did die. And I know that sounds a bit harsh, and I'm saying it quite almost callously. I don't mean it to sound like that. I'm just trying to keep it factual, in that what that little girl feared most did ultimately come true. And at around the age of 17, as things began to unravel, there was something deep within me, this knowing that my worst fears that had always been there deeply subconsciously, they'd always been there, they were being realized. So what the hell was I to do with that information? Because I wasn't resourced with how to handle that. I didn't know how to deal with the anxiety that came from that. And bless my parents, I've given you some beautiful examples. There are hundreds more examples of how they beautifully parented me. Neither of them were particularly emotionally masterful. Neither of them knew how to handle their big emotions. The only way they knew how was to numb them out, to ignore them, to distract themselves. I learned that. They were deeply codependent. I learned that. I wasn't resourced. I didn't know how to take care of myself when anxiety came up, when my own depression came up. I didn't know how to behave healthily in relationships. And, my mum, when she died, I was 22. I was in my first very big relationship. In that relationship, we ended up buying a flat together, and it was my first big relationship. Like, I was just learning how to be an adult when she died. So I didn't have anyone to really show me the way. And so how the hell did I handle all of that? I dared mighty things. I cleverly, this is what we do. We dive into what we know. I knew I had to survive life. Like, how was I going to do it? I was going to be successful. I was going to go be a good corporate girl. I can do anything, Katie, and I'm going to go dare mighty things. That's what I knew to do. So I pushed down and ignored the continual worry, the anxiety that was just growing and growing and growing, the grief from my parents' divorce and how that all happened. It was messy. There was quite some trauma attached to that. I pushed down, the grief from my mom's suicide, all sorts of things. I just didn't look at it. And we think we're clever. I won't look at it. It'll go away. It doesn't go away. It bites us on the ass. So there I was outwardly, and I alluded to this last night, outwardly, I was smiling, keeping up appearances. I was an intelligent girl. I was an attractive girl. I was good at my job. I would bend over backwards for my employer because I learned to be a people pleaser. And so everything looked good. But underneath, behind that, was my emotional pain. And I wasn't dealing with it well at all. And so behind the scenes, I had relationships that were full of drama and that were codependent and that featured addiction. And there was a lot of fear And I was terrified of being abandoned and alone because I'd experienced abandonment in multiple different ways from my parents over the years, and then crucially with my mom actually dying and choosing that. No blame, by the way. I have so much love for my mom, and she's such a gift in my life. And like I said last night, big reason why I'm doing the work I'm doing now. But so, what I guess I want to share is we use what we can to move us forward, but it doesn't mean we're not carrying pain that's affecting our lives. It doesn't just go away. We can't have a drink and numb it and hope that it disappears. We can't just overwork to distract ourselves, excuse me, and hope that it disappears. We can't do online shopping or gambling or eating or smoking or diving into somebody else's life and their relationship so that we can avoid looking at our own stuff. What we don't own owns us. So I might have thought I'd sidestepped it and got away with it, and I had a good career and I was making good money and I was having boyfriends and I was traveling and all looked great. But what was building day by day by day behind the scenes was owning me more and more and more. And it had a massive impact on me physically as well. So from the age of 17 through to 35, oh my goodness, what was I not struggling with physically? Because what we repress emotionally has to come out somewhere. And it's as we're uh, as we're so energy, it's toxic emotion, right? So the energy of anger, of grief, of anxiety, of depression, all of this, as we ignore it, it doesn't go anywhere. So it manifests itself physically as toxins. My immunity was so low. For years, I was having repeated colds and flus, constant, exhausting for me, exhausting for everybody around me, constant colds and flus. I literally couldn't have sex without getting a UTI, a urinary tract infection that was constant. That was obviously something to do with that chakra and not feeling safe in the world as well. Fear of abandonment, dreadful cystic acne I would get, chronic fatigue. I had chronic fatigue for about 3 years, from about 18 through to 21, I think. No, it must have been later than that. Anyway, I was not a well person because what we don't own owns us, and it has to come out somewhere, right? Someone yesterday was saying, and I can't remember who it was, but it'll come to me, I'm sure, tonight. But someone was saying to me how she knows that she works and throws herself into her work to avoid having to face the fact that she's single and doing something about it. It hasn't gone away. What we don't own owns us. Let me just take a quick look at the comments here. Clara said, I predicted both my parents their death, and it happened exactly like that by both of them. I'm so sorry, my love. I'm so sorry. Yes. Yes. So sad. Layla can relate to fear of abandonment. It's the fear of abandonment. Well, the fear of being alone is a basic human fear. Like, we need each other. We need to connect with each other, don't we? That's how we're wired. We are wired to connect, and we're not designed to be on our own. But we need to find a way, and this is what my work is all about. We need to find a way of being connected in a way that's from love, not fear of abandonment, not fear of being alone, but through the love of desiring to connect because it feels good and it's a win-win. Verity, I learned to survive, striving for popularity and professional success. All my relationships were intense. I wanted to keep them, please them, keep them loving me. Drama, codependency. Yes. Yes. I can relate to this. This is what's happening now. Yes. Yeah, it is sad. Let me have a sip of my drink. So we're being invited to own all parts of us. We're being invited to own our stories. We're being invited to own our life experiences. We're invited to own our sabotaging belief systems. We're invited to own wounding trauma that we haven't fully ever acknowledged and healed. Like, while we don't, it all owns us. And you wonder why you can't have the life that you want. You wonder why you can't feel the way you want. You wonder why you're not calling in the relationship that you want. You wonder why you haven't got the money you want or the career you want. What we don't own owns us. And that's what this self-love transformational work is all about. So bear with me while I just go back to the slides. So, my darlings, I invite you bravely to just take a moment and ask yourself, what is owning you? Now, I've got some little screenshots there of the worksheets that you did today. I asked you today to really tap into your mind, your emotions, your body, your spirit, and just start exploring, like, where are the energy drains? Where is your dissatisfaction? I'm inviting you to get really honest with what's really going on in those parts of your life, those areas of you, not your parts of your life, those areas. You are mind, you are body, you are emotion, you are spirit. I see you, I see myself as those 4 elements. What else? What is owning you? What life experiences do you know are owning the woman you are here today? How is your relationship history owning who you are here today? How is your societal, cultural, religious conditioning owning you today? How is your family conditioning owning you today? You don't necessarily have to answer in the comments, but you're so welcome to share anything that's come up for you. And just reflect for a moment on what positive conditioning and role modeling did you experience growing up, and how has that helped you today? And how has it allowed you to ignore what else is true, which was the case for me. It's great that I was out there being I can do anything Katie and daring mighty things. That's great. But it didn't actually help me be emotionally masterful. It didn't help me take care of myself, heal my heart, which impacted my relationships massively. The thing that I wanted most was a healthy relationship and a beautiful family. I wanted that so badly, and I just couldn't have it because what I hadn't owned was owning me. So I'm going to take you on a very quick whistle-stop tour of what on earth self-love is. And I think I want to start by saying, because I hear this a lot, from women who work with me, one of the common things I hear is, I feel really indulgent to spend time working on myself, to spend time healing myself, to spend time investing in myself. It's self-love isn't selfish. Self-love isn't egocentric. I think it's selfish not to love yourself, because the people that you love will not get the best of you unless you do. Yeah. I think we're doing the world a disservice not to love ourselves. Self-love is the route to self-ownership. And when we can own ourselves from a place of love, the people we love most, the projects and plans and goals and dreams that we have, it's all going to get the best of us. So, self-love is not a tick box or a destination. It's a daily practice and a way of doing life that invites you to compassionately connect with all parts of yourself. So, self-love invites you to love your mind, your body, your emotions, and your spirit. That's why today's playbook was very much focused on those elements of you. I can see a bunch of comments coming in, and I'm going to come back to those in just a minute. So self-love invites you to treat yourself as you would a small child and to talk to yourself as you would a best friend. So as you love your body, you're developing self-care. As you love your mind, you're developing self-compassion. As you love your emotions, you're developing self-understanding. As you love your spirit, you're developing self-trust. Now, I promise you what I'm going to share with you now is super, super top level whistle stop tour, but I wanted to give you a little overview of how self-love can help you to take back ownership of yourself and your life. So I promised you tonight a framework for healing your past to build self-worth so that you can have healthy relationships. And essentially, this is the framework. And what we're focused on and what we have time for a 3-day event, and I've got so much more I want to share with you over the next 2 days, we're focusing on awareness, step 1. So self-love, it's a journey, and you're constantly moving through these stages of awareness into emotional expression, into forgiveness, into intention setting, self-acknowledgement, gratitude, asking. It's a journey. I'm going to touch on each of these now, just to give you a really quick snapshot overview. But the main thing I want you to take away is the awareness piece. Self-love invites you to live transformationally. So that's what that is. Let me go back. So this here is when I speak to transformational living, that's what this is. Whenever life throws you a curveball, you're going to move through these phases, these pillars of self-love. And you'll do it you'll come to learn that the women who here, those of you who are in my Love Lounge community, any of you here have been clients of mine, you know that this is the process that you're always moving through on a daily basis. It just becomes a way of doing life. You've learned to do life one way. When you come at it from conscious awareness and through the lens of self-love, this is how you approach life. It's very, very conscious. So self-love invites you to live transformationally, which directly increases your self-compassion, self-care, self-understanding, and self-trust. Awareness is the first step to change, and loving yourself enough to get real requires immense bravery. We touched on that last night. But as you know, you will never, ever look back. And I'm inviting you tonight, and I invited you into this last night, and this is my intention for you this week, to love your dissatisfaction. Because your dissatisfaction, which is being prompted through answering all the questions in today's playbook, it's your spirit showing you why you are here and the growth you chose to have in this human experience. When you are feeling dissatisfied, it's perfect. Your spirit is literally like doing a happy dance saying, yay. And that's why we came here. You were meant to have that challenge, because that challenge through that relationship or whatever that experience, that exact challenge is inviting you into a new level of knowing yourself, loving yourself, and becoming more of yourself through love. That's what our soul wants to do. And it needs practical life lessons through which to do that. Your spirit is showing you how to live your most magnificent life that's full of love for self and others. Yeah. Without the dissatisfaction, you're not shifting and changing things to move towards the life that you came here to have. So I want you to love your dissatisfaction. Before I go on to the next slide, I'm just going to read some comments. So let me do that. And let me do that. Hold on a second. Comments. Verity says, oh no, sorry, darling. I think I've already read that one, have I? Yes. Yes, I've read that. Emma, I remember when I got divorced, I worried that I would never find a good, loving relationship again. It kind of has happened. Claudia, no positive role modeling, raised by a single mother who was very depressed and self-deprecating. So I don't know what a healthy relationship with self and partner looks like. It's powerful awareness. Lindsay, it's strange to have heard all through childhood that I'm too much, too loud, a show off, attention seeker. And through adulthood, I feel like I'm not enough, an imposter. I've learned to quiet my voice and dim my energy. Sarah, I've not had a chance to do the questions from today yet, but what you're saying right now has really hit me. There's a massive thing from my past, which I've always known about, but didn't realize how much it had affected me. I know I need to work through this. Really brave. Awareness is the first step to change. It requires, what you ladies are sharing right now is, it's not easy to acknowledge, right? It's not easy to look at, but as you look at it and learn how to move through it, your healing is going to take you where you want to be. Yeah. Janae, the disappointment of not succeeding in my performing arts and singing and going into corporate. I'm not stuck and miserable, which affected my family life and motherhood. Yeah. Clara, it's the biggest gift you can give and do for yourself. Yes, it is. I am my own best friend. Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful, ladies. Thank you for sharing, those of you that did. So let me go to the next. Oh, no, hold on. There we go. So pillar number 2, we're looking at the 7 pillars of self-love. Pillar number 2 was feeling. So loving yourself enough to honor and express all your emotions, no matter how scary or impossible it may seem. The truth is, you will survive it. So I'm getting distracted now because I can hear my son and dog and husband out the door laughing. I told them to be quiet. Love yourself enough to honor and express all of your emotions, no matter how scary or impossible it may seem. The truth is, you will survive it. I'm not going to go into detail on these tonight because we just don't have time. But I want you to know that feeling really is your route to healing. I know it sounds like a sticker that you'd put on the bumper of a car. It's so much more than that. It is your route to freedom. It is the only way. So through acknowledging and creating awareness around what isn't working in your life, around what you haven't owned and how it's owning you, and getting intentional about being willing to change that. Before you can do anything with it, you have to feel your feelings around that. And as you feel your feelings around it, you are already moving through it. That is the healing. It's a skill in its own right. And quite often the feeling piece, the emotional expression piece that's part of this transformational process needs to be witnessed by somebody else. It needs to be held safe by somebody else. You don't always have to do it on your own. And that right there is a self-responsibility piece. The third pillar of self-love is forgiveness. So awareness, moving into emotional expression around that awareness, moving into forgiveness, whether that's of yourself or of other people, is a key mini 3-part framework in its own right that you will constantly be circling through. When you're choosing to live consciously, when you're choosing to live transformationally, you're always going to be circling through awareness, emotional expression, forgiveness, awareness, emotional expression, forgiveness. The transformational process and the healing does not complete without forgiveness, but you can never rush it. And forgiveness is such an experiential piece. No one can really tell you how, although when you work with me or do any of my courses, I do take you through ways of having the experience of forgiveness. But ultimately, what I've witnessed in thousands of women is you will have your own experience. It will be very unique to you. But you have to make yourself available for it. There is no healing without it. And you will forgive when you're ready. It's something that you can't force. So what have I written here? Forgiveness creates peace, health, and freedom. Yes, it does. It creates peace of mind. It creates a healthy body, and it creates spiritual freedom. It means you can begin to tap into your purpose. The choice to release wrongdoing, hurt, and injustice from self or others is the function of the heart and the capacity of the soul. So you don't need to know how to forgive. It's an experience you can choose to receive, but it is key. The fourth pillar is living intentionally, and it means then that you are living in choice. Loving yourself shifts your perspective to a lens of kindness. You're invited to remember that life loves you. That's so, so key. Life is happening for you, not to you, and you can co-create with that energy through living consciously and setting intentions. So that's going to become your new normal. It's a great way to live. The fifth pillar is self-acknowledgement, which builds self-worth, self-esteem, and self-value. So self-love invites you to take time to focus on the qualities you have and to break the habit of beating yourself up, because where we put our energy, our attention, expands. And in fact, if I just go to today's playbook, I think at the very end of the playbook, yes, I shared with you a self-love practice where I've invited you to write 3 things you're proud of yourself for, 3 things you value about yourself, and then 3 things you're grateful for. So getting into the habit of tapping into what are you proud of yourself for? What do you value about yourself is building self-acknowledgement. And that self-acknowledgement builds self-worth, self-esteem, and self-value. And that's one little tiny daily practice that you could start doing now to begin to build your self-worth. Gratitude. I know you've heard it said before, an attitude of gratitude is key. What we focus on expands. Gratitude builds a sense of security in the world. An attitude of gratitude means you will feel good more often. And we all just want to be happy. And that is the route to happiness. So having a gratitude practice is really key. And that was the third point here I put on this quick self-love practice today, is to write 3 things every day that you're grateful for. So you're starting to feel safer in the world. You're starting to notice what you have that is keeping you safe, that you have to, that's helping you to thrive in life, right? Unless we give it attention, it can't build. If we're trapped in scarcity mindset, in limiting self-sabotaging beliefs, while we're focused only on that, that's all we're creating. But when we notice, oh, I've got this sabotaging, limiting belief, I wonder where that came from. Oh, how does that make me feel? Who do I need to forgive around that? How can I get intentional about what I want instead? I'm going to acknowledge that I've been through that process. I'm going to have gratitude. Like it becomes this kind of circular new way of doing life. And I'm wondering if that makes sense to you as I describe it. Finally, the seventh step, the seventh pillar of self-love is asking. Asking is the first step to receiving. So whether you're asking a friend for help, whether you're asking life, God, the universe to support you, asking is a very, very powerful self-love practice. Loving yourself enough to ask for what you need builds self-worth. Asking is a vulnerable act. And in every ask, you're telling yourself that you are worthy of help, support, guidance, abundance, and love. You are receiving your value and worth more deeply. Asking for help. When it comes to this transformational work, you don't have to do it on your own. You don't have to figure it out. You can ask for help. P.S. I can help. Just saying. So this is what we're doing today. If you have not already worked through your worksheets in the playbook today, please do. I want to disrupt your comfort zone. I don't want you to be comfortable at the moment. You want something more for your life. So get in touch with what you know has to change. From there, I mean, I will be inviting you into different ways that you can work with me. And I think I'll probably tell you about that tomorrow night. I don't want to bamboozle you tonight, but we're literally just starting you're starting to notice what it's going to take to begin to heal what has been owning you for so long, and that has to change. But we start with awareness, and I don't want you to skip ahead. I don't want you to even get into the how do I fix it? How do I change? How do I heal? Just stay with the awareness for now and allow that to build, because that is powerful, important information. We need that information. Change doesn't come without it. Okie dokie. So I'm going to see if you guys have any questions. Let me come back to the comments. Clara's had to go. Catch the replay. No problem at all. Step 7, asking this is what I need. It's that vulnerable act I need to move towards. Yes, Rebecca, asking for what you need. And it does take a hell of a lot of vulnerability, does it not, to ask for what you need? Yeah, totally. Layla saying forgiveness is so powerful. It's the key. I mean, I say it's the key. I would also say emotional expression is the key. Awareness is also the key. Like, they are all keys. We have to start with the awareness and we move through from there. The Ho'oponopono prayer is game-changing, Clara. I completely agree with you. I use that a lot in my own forgiveness practice. I'm afraid I don't know who this is. When I was a child, my father was physically and mentally abusive to my mom, and I was always worried he was going to kill her. I cried myself to sleep through their arguments. It was terrifying. Darling, I'm sending you so much love. That does sound absolutely terrifying. Yeah. Some healing there for sure. So, my darlings, if you've got any questions for me, hi, Emma. We're still live as it happens, but you might be watching from the beginning. If you've got any questions for me, please add them here. And I'm going to go to Facebook because there was some questions posted under the Ask Me Anything post earlier today. So I'm going to have a quick look at those. The prayer, Ho'oponopono prayer. So, excuse me, let me just take a sip of drink. So the Ho'oponopono prayer, it's the Hawaiian forgiveness prayer. Oh, I've got a real frog in my throat. Hold on. And you can say it in any order, but essentially it's, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. So you use those 4 statements. And like I said, you can use them in any order. And it's a very energetic process. I'm not going to teach it now. Many ways that you can use it. But boy, oh boy, is it powerful. And whenever I've used the Ho'oponopono prayer as part of my forgiveness practice, I mean, game-changing, miraculous stuff starts to shift around me. People start to behave differently. I get apologies that I would never have expected. Clearing conversations happen that I would never have dreamed or imagined possible. Things shift. So, you know, you have to know that when you're doing your transformational work, as you create the awareness, as you move into your emotional expression, you do your forgiveness work around it, and so the pillars go on. As you start moving through your day-to-day life in this new way, which might seem, by the way, if this is all very brand new to you, and if those pillars like, oh my God, I don't like, what does she mean? What do I even begin with that? Don't worry about it. It doesn't take long to start to move through life in this new way. But just know that when you intentionally, consciously choose to live life in this way, everything around you starts to shift. Everything around you starts to shift. And in fact, let me just go to Facebook because there was a question I remember from Layla. I'm just going to have a look at it now. And Layla says, it relates to what I was just saying, which is why I'm going to go there. My question is, how can you navigate through the person you are becoming and the old you? To give a bit of context, if you're still in a toxic environment that's disempowering and devaluing, how can your new self cope? And doesn't be there mean you are not, and doesn't being there mean you're not being true to yourself? Yeah. So as I hear you, Layla, because what you're saying is I know some of your stories. So there's aspects of your life that you know are toxic and you know are disempowering. And here you are doing this incredible healing work. I mean, we've been doing this work together. You've absolutely been moving through the phases of awareness, emotional expression, forgiveness. We've been doing some deep inner child work together. Like, you're on it, right? You're doing the work. And of course, as you are doing the work, there's going to be certain things going on in our lives that don't feel aligned to us anymore, that suddenly we absolutely acutely notice how toxic some of it can be. But please trust the process, the trust that as you're healing and as you're moving through and you're in your healing transformational process, things around you will start to shift. It doesn't necessarily, don't I kind of invite you to step into a miraculous mindset here and allow yourself to uh, have some faith that things will start to shift without you even doing anything, without you even having to make any significant changes. Just as your energy changes, the world that you're in is going to shift and change around you. And I wonder if you've already noticed that happening. And the trust that you'll know, trust your intuition. I mean, we've been doing a lot of work around the feminine as well. And so tapping into your feminine energy and really trusting that your intuition will inform you when it's time to leave the toxic environment. If you actually do have to make a choice, you'll know when. Trust that you'll know when. You being there now doesn't mean that you're not being true to yourself. You just questioning that you're there at the moment just shows how much more in alignment with you are. Because once upon a time, you may not have even questioned it. The fact that you're moving into a space of, is this healthy for me? Is this toxic? Shows a shift in you already. Does that make sense? I'm just going to come back. Layla said, I love that faith and trust has been coming up for me a lot. Great, great. And yes, it's happening. Great. Okay. Yes. Okay. So yeah, there's a faith and trust really is required. The 4 steps. Oh, you mean Rekha from the Ho'oponopono prayer? Yeah, it's just, you can just Google it. But it's, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, are the 4 statements used interchangeably in any order. Emma's saying, yes, I have seen that shift. Yeah, how things around you start to shift. So just you doing your work. And that's a really important thing to remember. It's as you're doing your healing transformational work, you're welcome, Rekha, no problem at all. Often we want the people around us to change. We kind of want them to catch up and get on board and do their own healing work. And we really do have to hold the faith and trust that as we mind our own business, stay in our lane, do our own work, we will inspire others. And just us focusing on us, what it shifts around us is going to impact the people around us, and people will stay or people will go. And some will be inspired to change and some won't, and they won't be able to be around you because of your change, because they can't bear to witness you so courageously looking at yourself, warts and all, and doing the work, because it tells them there's a unspoken invitation. Should I look at myself, warts and all? Oh, no, I don't want to. So being around you doing it is very uncomfortable, perhaps for other people. Sarah's saying, I'm a bit confused, Katie. I'm sure you're not, but are you suggesting we ought to passively stay in a toxic relationship? No, definitely not. And I know Layla's talking about a work environment actually there. No, definitely not passively stay in a toxic relationship. Leave when you feel, I mean, if you know the relationship's toxic, why haven't you already left? Right? Like, why would you, Sarah, what? No. If you know you're in a toxic relationship, then you'd have to question yourself why you were there. Like, and you might move into the secondary gain of that. It's like, well, I must be getting something out of it. What is it about this relationship that's so toxic that why would I remain? I must be getting something from it. And it could just be the familiarity of being in a narcissistic relationship, perhaps, or a codependent relationship, maybe it's something you witnessed as a child. And even though it's painful and hurting you, it's familiar. And so we stay because that's a comfort. The familiarity is a comfort zone. I mean, we're going down a whole other route here. But I'm definitely not suggesting we stay passively in a toxic relationship. No. I can relate to this, Katie, as in being around makes other people uncomfortable. Yeah, it can do. It can do. Absolutely. I'm just going to go back over to my Facebook feed from earlier today and look at some comments. So Helen was saying, Helen's question was, I understand that shame and perfectionism go hand in hand. How can I learn to heal my shame and let go of the need to feel I have to be in control and just show up in my vulnerability, however that may present itself? So intuitively, I went straight back to Helen and asked, have you chosen to release yourself of shame? Have you really and truly decided it, was my question. And she said, yes, I'm committed to letting go of shame. I don't want to feel chained to it anymore. And I said, great. And did you decide that with conviction today or previously? And she said, today. And that's where I was going with my answer to your question, Helen. So what I felt was that I hear you, that you want to heal your shame and let go of the need to be in control so that you can be more vulnerable and more present. But what I wasn't feeling was that you'd chosen it. So how can I learn to heal from my shame? Well, it's a process. And step one is choosing to. And really choosing to, like, no matter what, I'm available to heal the shame. And it kind of links into what I was actually just saying in answer to Sarah's question there. It was, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, Helen, but like, you know that I'm quite intuitive. And what I felt when I was reading your question was, like, I just felt like you hadn't chosen it. And I felt like the shame story, and I don't mean to be dismissive of you or your experience by calling it a story, but and the shame story, what I felt was, I wonder how comfortable you've become with that as being a part of your experience. And I wonder how willing you'd be to disrupt that comfort zone and actually really and truly choose to let it go. Because who will you be without it? What will you allow yourself to receive from life? What will you allow yourself to receive from your relationship without the shame? And that's what I was feeling. Let me come back to the comments to see if are you here, Helen? I would love to know if you are. Yeah, so that was. And then, like, how do I learn to heal my shame? Well, this is the process. Awareness, emotional expression, forgiveness is the 3-step process. But if you're working with me privately, or if I actually got to coach you and spend some time with you, there would be a bespoke movement through that for you, which I couldn't begin to tell you the how, but your soul will guide us. And that's a very beautiful experience. But I do have courses and programs that can help you to move through and let go of what's no longer serving you. That is absolutely available to you. That would be the how, is to invest in one of my courses or programs and move through your own healing journey. Come into the Love Lounge membership and let us support you there, for example. Helen, you're here. Awesome. Okay, so has what I've said landed with you around, like, I mean, choosing, the choice comes first. Choosing to let go of the shame, that comes first. Rekha has said, when it's time to leave a toxic environment, it'll happen. The universe works it out for you. It does. And sometimes we have to, like, make the decision and take action, right? We have to step in and speak our truth and say, no more, enough already, draw a line under it when the time is right. Layla's saying, no, absolutely not. I got Katie's answer. As we heal ourselves, the environment can still be triggering, but as we do the work, this becomes less. And as we become more authentic and have faith and trust in our own knowing. Yes. Yeah. I've just finished a body of private work with Layla, so I kind of know where she's coming from. Sonia, I'm leaving a toxic relationship with my boss. And I notice it's not that different as my relationship with my ex, meaning I let them get away with bad behavior because I believe it's not worth discussing because they just won't get it. Should I confront them instead? Did you see the couple with Katie I did last week, Sonia? And I know you and I have talked about this before, the wheelchair analogy. There is an element, as you say there, about is it worth discussing it because they're just not going to get it? I don't know. I feel like that this kind of requires a conversation. Should I confront them instead? So I would invite you to ask yourself, what am I looking to receive from the experience of confronting them? What's my motivation behind that? Why do I need to confront them? Like, what do you want to get from that experience? That would be my first question, actually, to ask yourself. What do you want from that? Because then you get to explore, like, how ego-based is it? Am I really coming from a place of love? Is there a potential for that when you say, should I confront them instead? Is this a potential like a beautiful, open, clearing conversation that's coming from a place of love where there's a win-win here for both of you? Are you open for that? Or is it more kind of ego? And I say this with love. Is it more like, I just want to be right and I want to tell them? But is it even going to land? Because are they not in a wheelchair? That's the analogy. And those of you, okay, let me just quickly share the analogy. No, I'm not going to share the analogy. We'll be here all night. It's already 9:20, and I was going to try and wrap up by 9:30. So you know the analogy, Sonia. Yeah. So are you trying to force an opinion on somebody that just isn't going to get it? Is it actually worth your energy? Is your energy better spent minding your own business, staying in your own lane, staying aligned with the truth of you, making decisions for your life going forward? Or do you need to prove something? And that proving energy is quite fear-based, as I know that you know. Let me just scroll. Yes, you know the analogy. Yes. I feel disempowered when I don't speak to them. Okay, actually, I don't want anything. That's why I don't say anything. Oops, hold on. I don't believe it will land. And maybe that's the truth. And so maybe it's your own inner work that's actually more important. It's you coming to a place of not having any energy on it anymore, not have those energetic hooks. And the only way you can release your energy on it would be to do your inner work, and probably your own emotional expression and forgiveness will be key to clearing that, so that you'll land. When you say it won't land, no, you're probably right, it won't land with them, but you have to land it within yourself. And that's your personal responsibility piece, is landing it within you. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah, it's landing it within you. So it's about you doing your work. So you've got no energy on it. They can think what they think. They can say what they say. You're so aligned with what's true for you. And you've expressed and released your emotion around it in a way that's really healthy for you. And you've forgiven. Like, imagine, Sonia, like it feels miraculous right now. It feels impossibly miraculous right now. Imagine forgiving them. Imagine that you'd forgiven them. Imagine that when you thought of them, it was coming from pure compassion and love. Because they're just little kids inside trying to be adults. They're existing in the world, reacting to their own past pain, their own past trauma, their own sabotaging conditioning. what they don't own is owning them. Imagine, imagine being able to forgive them. Imagine seeing them through the lens of complete love and light. I am you, you are me, we are the same. Imagine. And yes, that's the work. I mean, I know it sounds a little bit, uh, what's the word? Oh, what's the word I want? Utopia? Like, does that even exist? But I tell you what, there's people in my life that I have managed to forgive. And I tell you, the way the forgiveness happened, like I was saying before, forgiveness isn't something we do. It's not something we think about. It's not something we make happen. The forgiveness is it's a function of our heart. It's a function of our soul. It's an experience, and it's something that you cannot begin to make up. That's why the Ho'oponopono prayer is so powerful. It kind of doesn't even, those lines don't even really necessarily make sense, but energetically they pack a powerful punch. And so when we forgive, something utterly miraculous happens. There's a couple of people in my life that I've forgiven. And I say I've forgiven them. I didn't really do anything. My soul, my heart opened, my soul forgave, and my human experience is lightened as a result. And there's no energy on it anymore. I don't have any hooks in them anymore. They can't hook me anymore. Like, I'm just not available to be hooked because there's nothing to hook onto. I'm like clean. I'm slippery. It's all good. But I swear to you, once upon a time, I did not think that was possible. And there's levels and layers to forgiveness, and you're not necessarily going to forgive straight up. It could take some time. But this is my response to you. It's about the work. It's the work. Just going to go back to the comments. I can't recommend the Love Lounge Daring and Mighty enough. So much good to come from working with Katie. Thank you, darling. Yes, we do have a lot of fun as well, and we do freaking powerful work. Hi, Nida. Oh, yay. Good to have you, honey. So nice to feel your presence. Yeah, Rekha, it's all about the work. Helen, yes, it's landed in me choosing this. Great, Helen. That is so powerful. I felt that so strongly for you today. You're being invited to choose to let the shame go. And just that choice is probably going to bring quite a lot up because it's been a part of your existence for so long. It's almost like it's your identity, except that it's not. Okay, fear would tell you that. Love reminds you that you are not your shame. You are not your perfectionism. You are not your inability to be vulnerable. You are a beautiful, pure spiritual being that's so meant to be here, that chose to be here. And actually, on a soul level, I wonder if your soul is actually doing a happy dance today because you chose to let this go. And the process of letting the shame go is you becoming the woman you came here to be. Can you feel that? You wanted to know the how. For now, I just want you to trust that for now, your how is to stay in that choice and to stay intentional about it. And I remember you said you felt curious about this week. That's what your last comment was last night. Yeah, sometimes I have a good memory. Sometimes my memory is shocking. Ask Sarah. I forgot something very important the other day. Sorry, Sarah. Sometimes my memory ain't so good. But I remember you saying that you feel curious. And so it's perfect. Your curiosity is required now, Helen. Just be curious. Be like a curious child. There's no attachment to outcome. There's no attachment to needing to know the how. Just stay in this light, curiosity of, oh, okay, so I wonder what I'm going to be shown now that I've made this decision to let go of my shame. I want, I want, oh, I wonder what, because the wheels are in motion. Energetically, that choice, if you mean it, if it's an emotionally backed choice, the wheels are in motion. So you get to curiously sort of sit back and watch what you're being shown, what's going to be revealed to you over the coming days and weeks. What work will you be guided to? Your soul will take you there. I feel that so strongly for you right now. I hope that's helpful, Helen. By the way, I feel like a lot of people are going, what's she talking about, the wheelchair analogy? If you follow my Couple with Katie sessions, watch last week's session. Okay, it's on YouTube. Go to the School of Self-Love YouTube page and look at our playlists. Look at the Couple with Katie playlist. Watch last week's. It'll tell you. It's easier than me talking through now. It's another half an hour. Layla, it's a wonderful space of love and support of amazing empowered women. That must be the Love Lounge we're talking about. Yes, it is. Great. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Yes. Kellyanne, this is also relevant and relatable right now. Awesome. 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 Emma has said, oh my God, since I've been cord cutting and forgiving my ex-husband and me also on a full moon, I realize how much release that has helped me. Oh, pleasure, darling. Yeah. Cord cutting and forgiveness. They go very much hand in hand, don't they? Let me read Sarah's comment while I have. Sarah loves to write an essay. I love you. I love you so much. When I forgave my birth father for sexually abusing me, everything changed for me. I could talk to anyone about it to support them. I no longer had any emotion about it. It was simply then a thing that happened, just like going to the shops to buy ketchup. It suddenly had no power. Right. Thank you for sharing this story, darling. I didn't know how I was going to forgive him. It made me feel sick, but in faith, I just said the words, imagining I was saying it to him, and instantly I felt like the blood started flowing to parts. I think that's cut off, but I get the sentiment there. Thank you, Sarah, so much for reiterating that. Pleasure, Helen. Very excited for you. Keep me posted, particularly just over the next couple of days while we're here at LoveFest. Let's just see what evolves for you now that you've made that decision today. And yes, thank you. And for the rest of you as well, like, what decisions are you making today? In fact, I do believe that might have been a question in today's playbook, was it not? Oh, by the way, did anyone do the meditation today? Can you let me know? I put a link there to the True Self meditation. Has anybody taken the time to do that today? I would love to know, and let me know how you found it. Yes, so one of the questions today was your vow, right? A promise to yourself. This is a vow that solidifies a decision you are making today. What do you vow to change? What are you promising yourself you are going to believe or take action on? If you feel like sharing that, I would love for you to pop that into the comments. If you have a vow, if you have something that you're choosing to commit to, and then let's, with curiosity, with childlike wonder and curiosity, let's just notice how that decision today begins to take form, how life, how energy starts to move a little differently around you, what you're guided to next, trusting the process. Jess is about to do the meditation. Okay, well, I'll wrap up so you can hop to it. Rebecca did the meditation. Lots of tears came. It was beautiful. It is a gorgeous meditation, isn't it? Emma, I haven't had a chance to do it, but going to do it, to go to sleep to. What a lovely idea. I love that. Lorraine saying, I did it and found it helpful. Very relaxed afterwards. Gorgeous. So glad. Yay. Okay, my darlings. Oh, Rekha's got a comment. I just happened to pop round. I had no idea what this was all about, but I'm finding you amazing. Oh, that's great. Thank you, darling. Did you register for LoveFest? Have you been receiving the emails and have you got the playbook and everything? Um, I'm glad you're here. It's really lovely. I think it's very interesting how life brings certain people into my world. I'm always intrigued how it happens. Never a mistake. Kate, part of my vow ties into what we've been talking about, which is to not project old wounds onto new situations. Yes. I did the meditation just before joining this and it felt very relaxed. Gorgeous. I love that. Not to project old wounds onto new situations. Yeah. It's not letting, it's it's owning yourself, right? It's owning your here and now and not allowing the past to control that. Very good. I love it. Oh, you haven't registered. Okay, my darling, let me just give you the link so you can get that now. Hold on. Let me just copy paste it for you. So if there is anybody watching, and if you haven't registered for LoveFest, it's okay. You're allowed to be here. You are allowed to be here. But I've popped the link in. It's not an easy one to read out, so you want to copy paste that. Just register for LoveFest and then you will get emails and links. So you'll get the playbook every day, and inside the playbook is a link to the daily meditation. There's a catch-up page as well, which has every day's playbooks, every day's lives. Inside all the playbooks are all the meditations. So you'll get it all. Okay, be a pleasure to have you. Claudia, my vow, I promise to be nicer to myself. I want to believe with more ease that a partnership and love is out there for me. Amen to that. Yes. Jess, I vowed to trust in the process and trust in my guides in whichever form they appear. Beautiful. Beautiful. Emma, I promise myself to work on me, my health, loving myself, self-confidence, image of me, and breaking down that wall. Very beautiful. Very beautiful, Emma. I have a load of homework to do now. It's fun. It's home play. Let's reword it. Home play. Great, Rekha. That's awesome. Okay, my darlings. Well, I think that feels... Oh, hold on. Wait. I didn't acknowledge. There was another message. Okay, so Emma Lynch, you asked me some questions today, and I did actually ask you some in reply because I didn't quite understand one of your questions, but you didn't respond to me. So I think what would be easiest, Emma, is if you reply to me in that Facebook thread and I'll answer your question back and forth tomorrow. But there's something that did come through for me while I was reading what you'd written. And what I felt was a couple things. Let me just tap back in and remember where we got to. So one of my questions to you was, I was curious about when your self-love journey truly began, because I think for you, it's not that long ago. And I would like to know when you think it was, because I kind of feel like I want to invite you to be kinder to yourself and to allow the process. You've come, and by the way, people, I know, Emma, we've done some great work together, and you've come so far. And remember, one of those pillars, one of the self-love pillars is self-acknowledgement. And I would invite you to move into a space of self-acknowledgement of just how far you have come, because the habit otherwise is to only notice what you haven't achieved rather than what you have. And I think you've come further than you even realize. And I think that's really important to acknowledge. Let me go back into your question. You said that you are doing daily practices like meditations, gratitudes, connecting with how you're feeling, setting intentions on what you need, and so on. My sense, though, because you've said that, hold on, what did you say? that your emotions are bubbling up and feeling more extreme reactions later, like crying and feeling massively off, sometimes angry. I feel like if you really are truly taking the time to connect in with how you feel and asking yourself how you feel, that wouldn't be happening. Okay? The emotions that are bubbling up and kind of like kicking you in the ass when you least expect it, that happens when we aren't taking care of ourselves emotionally, when we aren't acknowledging how we really feel and giving ourselves the time and space to really move through them, release them, express them, be free. So I don't, and I say this with so much love, I don't really believe that that's the work that you're doing. When you say you're doing all these things daily, I'm wondering if you're tick listing, oh yeah, she says to do that and they say to do that and I should do that. But are you really allowing yourself to just sit and be present with the truth of you and how you feel and allowing yourself to process those emotions as they come? Because I know that when you do that, they will not be biting you on the arse like it sounds like they are. And we can explore further in the comments. So let's just have a little bit of banter backwards and forwards tomorrow, perhaps. Why did the link not come up? Where are you? You're on Facebook. I'm copying and pasting the link again right now, Rekha. Hold on. There it is. And I'm just going to show it there. Can you see that? It should be, but oh, wait. Yeah, it should be there. It's there. So I hope you can find it. Anyway, just Facebook message me if you can't find it and we'll get it sent over to you. Okay. Okay, my darlings, it is time to say good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Hold on, what's Emma doing here? Oh, Emma's tried to post it as well. Layla, thank you so much, Katie, for this and answering my question and giving me clarity and confirmation to trust the process and my knowing. You're welcome. You're so welcome. Oh, you are here, Emma. I think I'm treating it like a tick box exercise. Yes. And that's the difference. That's where your masculine energy is really taking over and you're not allowing your feminine to actually sit with and be with and process her emotions in a time frame that only she knows. You can't, right? You can't force it. But we can talk more about that. All right, my darlings, I think it's time to say good night. Good night. Good night. I have more for you tomorrow. I can't wait for that. Love you loads. I hope you've received a lot from today. Yes, this live here will remain in my Facebook profile. So by all means, and if you're registered for LoveFest, you will get access to the catch-up page, which has the links to watch all of the lives. No problem. So great. I'm glad that was amazing for you. You're welcome, Lucy. Thank you for being here. Claudia, thank you for being here as well. So good. Thank you, Katie. I'm finally realizing where my anxiety is coming from. Wow, that's a big piece of awareness right there. Fantastic. Fantastic. Love you, Sarah. Thank you for being here. You're welcome. I'm glad you popped by as well. No problem, Lindsay. Good to have you. Good night, Ruth. Good night, Karen. Good night, Lorraine. Night, night, Nita. I'll see you all tomorrow night. Have a beautiful day tomorrow. Look out for tomorrow's playbook. It's going to take you deep again. Okay. So be brave, bring your courage, and I'll see you tomorrow night. Love you lots. Ciao.